Hello and welcome to World's Most Unrealistic Football Manager 2023 Newcastle United rebuild. Now, a forewarning, I started this rebuild a very long time ago, so most of the players I signed have moved elsewhere. In fact, almost all of them. But we started at the end of the 2022-23 season where Newcastle United had obviously finished and qualified in the top four for the Champions League. That didn't make sense, you know what I meant though. And at this point, there was a lot of dead wood that I needed to get rid of to bring in the type of players that will help us improve on that. And it was difficult. I found it very difficult. I wasn't actually given a lot of money to spend, but this was the tactic that I wanted to play with. I felt it suited the way they play already. In fact, it's pretty similar, other than perhaps the Mazzala is on the left-hand side with the box-to-box midfielder. On the right-hand side, Longstaff played as the box-to-box midfielder a lot last season, and then you had basically the winger and the centre midfielder, who was Joe Linton and Joe Willock, interchanging a lot. So instead, I swapped that around to the opposite side because I felt that suited what I wanted to do and who I wanted to bring in and who was available a lot better. And after quick picking without restriction, this was the best 11 according to Jason Tyndall, who is going to be involved throughout and is involved a lot in real life, obviously, and boy do we know it, this was the best side available. And I felt we could probably improve at left back. Dan Burn usually starts for Newcastle, and I thought Champions League level, Dan Burn, no. So I was going to look for a left back. Miguel Miron has come in for a lot of criticism, and whether that's unjust or not, you let me know what you think. But I felt an added option because Jacob Murphy, not very highly rated on Football Manager anyway. If we're going to progress, we need two wingers there. And also, I thought Bruno Guimaraes, push him forward, bring in a defensive midfielder, and we would be in a lot better position. And there was one other spot, an added midfielder. That's what I wanted to do. And so in the first transfer window, that is exactly what I did. I brought in Youri Tielemans for free. Newcastle were sort of linked with him before he went to Aston Villa. However, I don't know if Eddie Howe would actually want him for his likes of his work rate, but in Football Manager, he looks very good. Obviously, technically, very gifted. Mentally, they're all 12 or above, which is a good sign for Newcastle United and the way they play. Very aggressive, and I like it. I like it a lot. Physically, maybe a little bit to be desired, but stamina, fine. Natural fitness, very good. Acceleration, pretty good, and agile as well, which I like. So on a free signing from Leicester City after he left there, 1 assist in his first 5 games, okay average rating, I thought decent bit of business, get him in for free, allow us to spend money elsewhere. But that we did not do at left back. Rafael Guerreiro was available for free. I believe he's moved on elsewhere from Dortmund in real life as well, and I thought he fit us very well. Obviously not anywhere as physical as Dan Burn, but it gave a little bit more balance with Trippier on one side and Rafael Guerreiro. He is very good going forward and fine defensively, but if we were going to bring in a half-back to sit in front of that back four, I felt 2 attacking fullbacks would be a lot better. He's very good mentally, decent physically, obviously very small, 5'7", but going to grab assists, I would feel, and he grabbed 1 in the first 5 games. I mentioned that half-back role, and I brought in Edson Alvarez from Ajax, who's joined West Ham in real life. I think that's actually a good signing for them, and not using all of their rice money is also a bonus. They can invest elsewhere. But this is exactly the type of man I wanted to bring in. If we're going to have the 2 fullbacks bombing forward, someone like him who can sit in front of that back 4 in that half-back role. He's technically very good at defending, passing 14 as well, vision 14, and technique 13, able to pass on to that more creative midfielders or the more forward-thinking midfielders like Joe Linton, Bruno Tielemans. Physically very good, and he is a mentality monster. He's in the door, 31 million, at 25 years old, I'm happy. And our last signing, also from Ajax, it was a double swoop, Mohamed Kudus. Now, his versatility is something I like. He can play as the 10, should we do that. He can play as that Mazzala in midfield and also off both wings, but I brought him in to be ahead of Miggy Almiron. His finishing is very good, his dribbling is very good, linked with Brighton in real life, fantastic technique, mentally very, very good. I love that he's got 15 aggression, 15 work rate, and the 15 flair is quite nice too. And physically, very, very good. At 5'10", maybe a little slight, but his strength at 14 gives me a lot of confidence. Signed for 37 million, potentially rising to 42 million. He's got an assist and the player of the match already in his first 3 games, 7.17 average rating. Delighted. I actually forgot about a few signings here. Tim Krul was brought in for 1.6 million because, well, homegrown registration, fine backup goalkeeper to Nick Pope. I did this so long ago that I forgot that I spent way more money than I thought. Kim Min-jae, joined Bayern Munich in real life. He's fucking brilliant. 6'3", very, very good in the air. He's very quick for a centre-back with 14 acceleration, 15 pace. Tackling, heading, marking, positioning, all 15 or above. And very aggressive. Delighted. He was brought in for 39 million, scored 1 goal in 5 appearances. I presume that's going to increase a lot. I'm all over the shop at this stage, but you've seen them all. Luka Jovic back up to Alexander Isak and Calum Wilson. He was very, very cheap, 5.25 million, bought from Fiorentina. A wonder kid gone wrong from Football Manager. He's fine, capable to come in when needed. Whether he's happy with that role, I don't know. Probably not. And Ivan Fresnida, brought in at 18 years old. I wanted to do this because if I get him in early, sticks around, helps for the homegrown because he'll get 3 years of training before he's 21, and I'm delighted. He's a good backup for Kieran Trippier at this stage, a potential to get a lot better. Very well rounded, 26 million, a bit steep for an 18-year-old, but hey, we're Newcastle United, we've got bags to spend, so it's absolutely fine. And this is now what our best 11 looks like. Almiron's still in there for now, however, Kudu's probably going to step in. And we look a lot better. Guerrero, 2.5 stars. Who cares about that? We all know his attributes are very, very good. Bruno sits as that half-back, but we've got the likes of Edson Alvarez, Joe Willock, Longstaff to come in. A lot more strength and depth, and I'm happy. I'm very, very happy. And this is how we started the season. A 4-2 win against Tottenham, 5-0 against Chelsea, absolutely smashing them. 2-0 against Aston Villa on our patch. Going away to Nottingham Forest, they're very good at home. We won 3-0 and 2-0 against Liverpool. Right now we are second. Man City also haven't lost, but Erling Haaland has scored 11 goals in those 5 games, so probably not going to win the title at this stage. Now, a lot of the deadwood was shifted on in January for minimal fees. Ignore the date in the top right because I messed up, didn't save it at the right point, and here we are. But we'll run you through the end of the first season. Luka Jovic left in January because he was unhappy. He went to Sheffield United and then ended up at Brentford. So he's just dotting around the Premier League. Sorry, Luka. Our business with Ajax continued because we sold Emil Kraft to them and then he left to San Sebastian. Real Sociedad. This was in January as well, I should note. Fan favourite Jacob Murphy left to go to Leicester in January. I apologise for the mess this is in. I got very confused with all the saving. But he went there, didn't really feature, but he's back in the Premier League, and I for one am delighted. Great guy he seems. Just look how happy he is. He's like that all of the time, I feel. With Jovic leaving in January, we brought in Armando Broja on loan from Chelsea, and he contributed 2 goals, 1 assist as the third choice striker. I was happy with that. We then brought in wonderkid / model citizen Vitaly Becker on loan. No, he went on loan to Plymouth at the start of next season. Fucking nightmare this is, honestly. Brought him in because he's young, kept him around, didn't play, 2.2 million, should get better though. Likewise, Dennis Seaman, wonderkid goalkeeper, he's driven, and I'm very happy about it. He will get a lot better. He's just going to come in and train, learn from Nick Pope, but the arrow's on the way up. I'm delighted by. Brought in January. That's what we're talking about, remember. January, first season. It's going to be a long video. Bear with me. Likewise, Arda Güler was brought in, joined Real Madrid in real life. So I expect him to be very, very good. He was brought in for 13 million and got a goal and assist in 6 appearances. Not bad for someone so young. And Rooney was bought in, loaned back to Copenhagen. Apparently didn't even play, so that was well worth it. But 9.5 million for someone so good, actually described by the media as a wonder kid. Physically very, very good. Good mentals for someone so young, and technically good, which will improve as well. Already worth 3 times what we paid for him, at least. I'm most excited about this one. He's coming and played in the next season, but brought him in January. I'll just tell you how we did, and we can move swiftly on from this shambles. We finished second in the league in our first season. The additions and tactic went very, very well. We were actually level on goal difference, but just 2 points behind Man City. Qualify for the Champions League again, which delighted about, because then we can attract better players, which I'll come on to very shortly, okay? We were knocked out in the round of 16 stage of the Champions League, relatively narrowly, but we did lose 4-0 at home to Barcelona after winning 3-0 on their patch. But for our first season of the Champions League in flipping ages, I'm happy with it. The cup competition's a bit poor, but we were drawn in the 5th round away at Old Trafford, where we lost 1-0 to Man United, and Sunderland got further in the cup than us. They were beaten 5-1 though. They love getting beat 5-1. Did Kevin Nolan score a hat-trick by any chance? And in the Carabao Cup, we didn't make it to the final before losing. Knocked out in the quarter-final. Again, though, drawn at Stamford Bridge. Pretty tough place to go. We lost narrowly 1-0. But reasons to be confident and areas to improve. So we went out and splashed 74 million, potentially rising to 84, on Josko Gvardiol. Signed for Man City in real life. He's very highly rated, did well at the World Cup for Croatia. Now worth nearly, potentially 223 million. Physically fantastic, mentally very good. Backup, or probably play in front of Botman at left centre back, but also can play left back and probably play left back very, very well. And we brought him in because we got rid of Rafael Guerreiro. Guerreiro served us well, brought in for free, sold for 10 million a year later to Inter Milan. Good business in my books. Likewise, Target left. I've got no idea why I told you about Gvardiol before I told you about everyone that left. Went to Bologna. 10 million as well. 20 million for 2 left backs that weren't going to play. Fine by me. We managed to dupe some idiots into paying for Ryan Fraser after he was on loan there last season. 10.75 million. 75 million. He's wearing number 6. It's all very weird. The longer you stay in this, the weirder and wonderful it's going to get. Wonderfuler? That's not right. The kicker was Bruno leaving, however. He wanted to leave after Liverpool bid for him. We got 149 million, potentially rising to 177 million. He's gone in and done well for them. I was upset, but he wanted to leave. I'm not going to keep around any time wasters and people that don't want to be here, even if it's Bruno. But we replaced him, and we replaced him well in my books. But before we get on to that, we brought in Fraser Forster, homegrown, Simcoe retired, decent backup goalkeeper. We brought in Ousmane Diomande, 20 years old, a perfectionist personality, described as a wonder kid, physically incredible, mentally incredible, and technically very, very good too. He can also fill in at right back. He will play backup to Kim Min-jae, but I am very, very happy with that. He's made 4 appearances already, actually starting 4 times. Brought in 40 million quid, I think potentially, yep, from Sporting in Portugal, and I am delighted with that. Defensive reinforcements, always good. Diomande Gvardiol so far, not bad, is it? Alex Scott was brought in, we had money to spend, fucking loads of it in fact, and went back on loan to Bristol City. We'll see how it goes. He's joined Bournemouth in real life. Why not? Declan Rice, however, was brought in to replace Bruno Guimaraes. What can I say? Just look at those mentals. I'll give you a wee second. Just look at them. He's a bit good, isn't he? We did spend a lot of money, however, not nearly as much as we got for Bruno Guimaraes. 75 million up front, potentially rising to 80 million. It's less than what Arsenal paid for him, and I'm very happy. And English helps meet the homegrown quota. That pesky fucking thing. Likewise, Calum Hudson-Odoi signed him for 3 million in compensation, it was, I believe, and he's good, he's fine. Left winger, could get better if he stays fit. I'm happy. This is a shambles. With Broha going back to Chelsea, I brought in Moise Kean. Yep, I don't know. He scored 1 goal in 3 games though. I brought him on with a loan with option to buy. He'll play back up to Isak and Wilson and can also play on either wing. I like people who can be versatile. Physically, mentally, very, very good. Fantastic finisher as well. Good dribbler of the ball. Fine enough technique at 13. Delighted. Also brought in Mickey van de Ven because he was available for relatively cheap, to be honest. He was brought in for 30.5 million, potentially rising to 36.5 million. Again, he can play left back. We got rid of Matt Targett. We got rid of Rafael Guerreiro. He's rapid, can play centre back as well. Versatile, technically very, very good. 6'4", fucking huge. Mates with Botman. They're Dutch. What can I say? And this one pains me to say it, but I brought in James Tavernier on loan from Rangers because homegrown. We were really struggling for homegrown players, so I put him in. I don't know why. But we've started the league season relatively well before losing to Bournemouth inexplicably 2-0. We drew 0-0 with Man City, smashed Brighton 4-2, and that's despite Vardiel getting sent off after 11 minutes. Drew 1-1 with Manchester United, and that's despite Joe Linton getting sent off after 19 minutes. And then smashed 4-0 Southampton. Smashed Southampton 4-0, right? Okay. In January, we were afforded even more money to spend. However, Calum Wilson wanted to leave. And you know what? At 33 years old, I was happy to allow him to do so. He gone to Turkey. He'll enjoy the sun, maybe get some new hair, some new teeth, whatever. 3 goals, 8 games there. He wanted to go. Who am I to stand in his way? So we brought in Eddie Nketiah to replace him from Arsenal. Homegrown, he scored 1 goal in 4 appearances in the back end of the season. But he was brought in for 17 million, and we've got shitloads of cash to spend, and we can bring in a homegrown player of his quality. I'm happy. I'm very happy. Also now an Arsenal player in real life, Jurrien Timber was purchased. Jurrien Timber, I believe is his actual name, not Jurrien Timber. He was brought in, he came in and did very well, getting 3 assists in 11 appearances. 50 million, potentially rising to 55. Fine by me. Mentally, physically, technically, he's just very, very good. Can play as a centre back, can play at right back. Came in to be our first choice right back because Kieran Trippier was retiring at the end of the season, so I wanted to get ahead of the curve. And I also brought in Matheus Nunes. We were missing a little bit of forward prowess from the midfield, if you like. Wolves were pretty bad, and we got him for 72 million. 68 million, potentially rising to 79. So I'm giving you 3 figures there. Right now he's cost us 72 million though. He came in, performed very well, grabbed the goal and assist. Perhaps we'd like better production there, but my god, he is good. And he can also play out wide and in the 10 and everything. So I was happy, and we kicked on a little bit because in January I think we were sitting 4th. And, well, we ended up finishing 3rd. Not great. However, we did win the Champions League this season. Not really certain how that happened. Not really sure what I'm doing, actually, now that I think about it. But it wasn't the most easy of paths. We got some decent draws in terms of the league phase, the weird, annoying league phase. Probably Napoli, Real Madrid, and Milan, the 3 biggest sides there, and we came through all of them unscathed. We then beat PSG in the knockouts in the round of 16 before seeing off Liverpool with a 4-1 win at St James's Park to get us through 4-3 on aggregate in the quarter-final. Then we were afforded a nice draw. We got Sporting from Portugal, beat them 3-0 over 2 legs, and beat Real Madrid, AC Milan rather. Fucking hell, this is awful, Calum. Leave a like if you're enjoying it. I don't do rebuilds very often. We beat them 2-1, Yuri Tielemans at the double inside 13 minutes. After we went 1-0 down 4 minutes. After the 13th minute, it was a terrible game, but we won the fucking Champions League, mate. And we won the Champions League before we even got close, really, to winning anything else. We got knocked out of the FA Cup by Leeds at the semi-final, and then knocked out in the Carabao Cup by Liverpool. And that was in the 4th round of that particular competition. But we'll have a quick look now that the squads pretty much all change at who our top performers were. Dennis Seaman only played in 2 games but was the best average rating in those 2 games. Kim Min-jae, 12 goals from centre back, an average rating of 7.21. As you can see, Eddie Nketiah in 7 appearances came in and was very productive. In fairness, Joe Linton, absolutely brilliant. Timmer came in and did very well. A brilliant debut season from Josko Gvardiol, and Alexander Isak, our top goal scorer, with Moise Kean up in second. Hence, I went for Nketiah to be that sort of third choice striker, and even then, he came in and did very well. 24 goals for Isak. Our top assistman was Rooney difficult, very difficult. 19 years old, and he's come in and got 16 assists in all competitions, 25 starts, 12 sub appearances. That's excellent production when you consider he scored 5 goals on top of that, 15 from Trippier, probably mainly corners to Kim Min-jae, and Tielemans, 8 goals, 8 assists. A good free signing in my books. On to season 3. To kick off season 3, as you can see, we managed to raise a fair bit of funds from selling wingers, to be honest. 30 million for Anthony Gordon, a loss going to Wolfsburg. Garang Kwol, 7.75 million, and 18 million for Miggy going to Real Sociedad. We also put out Alanson Maximan to PSV. That was with an option to buy, essentially, and Calum Hudson-Odoi also went out to Tottenham, but that was to make way for a few players. Most notably, Joao Felix. This is why we got rid of Alanson Maximan. He is absolutely incredible. 2 goals, 1 assist in his first 2 games, 1 player of the match, average rating of 7.85. Technically, mentally, and physically, pretty incredible. Physically, maybe just decent. It was a large spend, 154 million in total, but a spend I think that's worth it and takes us on to that next level. In that position anyway. Kevin Mbabu brought in for homegrown purposes. Likewise, Freddie Woodman. Fraser Forster retired. So on to the third choice, homegrown goalkeeper. I don't know why Newcastle are good at producing like backup third choice goalkeepers, but nothing else. Mental. Moise Kean's move was made permanent. 12 million quid based off that production of 17 goal contributions in 35 appearances in the league alone when he only started 13 games in all competitions. I think a very, very good bit of business. Riyad Mahrez brought in on a free. Probably not going to play much at all. Only played once by September. However, for free, I felt bringing him in would be a bit of experience that we could do with. A winner. He's won the lot with Man City. And I think having him around the dressing room when he's still very, very good, if not physically, so he would be able to contribute if required, I think it's a good bit of business. And my same exact thoughts for Roberto Firmino, who so far has played 3 games, done nothing, but again, free after leaving Man United, not even Liverpool, but Man United. He's won the lot. He's going to be 3rd, maybe even 4th choice, not in our Champions League squad, but when he's still this good, especially mentally, you know, for free, I think it's a very, very good bit of business, and only on 50 grand a week. I say only 50 grand, that is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. But we brought in Romelu Lukaku. He's homegrown, because obviously he was at Chelsea for a very long time when he was younger, before being shipped out to West Brom and Everton. I brought him in for, 35 million in total. For him to come in and be our backup striker behind Isak, when you've already got Moise Kean as well, at 32 years old, still very, very good. Physically, absolutely brilliant. 18 finishing. His first touch leaves a little bit to be desired, as we know. But 20 penalty taken could be important. Mentally, very, very good. I'm happy with that business. And Mason Mount was our final bit of business from Chelsea. He's homegrown. He is injured, but he's homegrown. And mentally, he's very, very good. Best mates with Declan Rice, slots straight in. Obviously signed for Man United in real life. But in terms of playing as the sort of Mazzala or the centre midfielder on attack, as it sort of now is, or the box-to-box midfielder, as well as being able to fill in on both wings, versatile, I am very, very happy. And we've started the league season very, very well with a 2-0 win in the Super Cup over Bournemouth, who won the Europa League, and then beating Tottenham 1-0, 5-3 in an absolute barnstormer of a game against Brighton at their patch, and then 4-2 in another excellent game at St James's Park against Aston Villa with Joao Felix popping up with 2 goals, as well as Kudus and Nunez. All my signings. I'm a genius. I'm an absolute genius. And this is how we are playing now. And this is apparently our best 11 without restriction. As you can see, Mason Mount comes in. We've got Nunez and Rice. I would probably swap these ones round, actually. I'd probably have... no, that's actually very wrong. What am I doing? This is what I want. Box-to-box midfielder Mason Mount. Nunez on attack in centre mid, and Declan Rice holding it down. You've got Kudus and Felix supplying Isak, who's absolutely fantastic. And that back 4 is brilliant. Kim Min-jae, Josko Gvardiol, Sven Botman and Jurien Timmer. And then you've got Van de Ven who can come in. You've got the likes of Joe Linton, Lukaku, Rooney, who got 15 assists. He's not even starting. We're absolutely stacked. Can we defend our title though and win the Champions League again? I'm not so sure, but maybe. We'll find out shortly. But Pedro Gonçalves was brought in January because Joao Felix got injured. I basically thought, Portuguese, it'll be fine. He didn't come in and feature very much. He scored 1 goal in 7 appearances, but maybe that 1 goal was extremely important. Brought Jude Bellingham in. If you thought that midfield was good beforehand, we've now got Jude Bellingham. Yep. I don't think I need to say more about that. £87 million from Borussia Dortmund. Got 4 goals in 13 games. He's just brilliant, isn't he? And he's homegrown, even better. This was, however, because we sold Yuri Tielemans. He scored 2 goals in the Champions League final. Stayed for another 6 months and we punted him off to Villarreal. £35 million profit on a free transfer that helped us win the Champions League. In fact, basically won the Champions League for us. I'm sorry, but that's just football, baby. And my cutthroat business worked because we won the league. 8 points ahead of Arsenal in second. We had a much better goal difference. Man City, 10 points behind us on 74. We were absolutely brilliant. But did we win, let's say, the treble, including the Super Cup? Did we win the Champions League or any cup competitions? Well, we were knocked out of the Carabao Cup quarter-final stage by eventual winners Leeds United. They beat Aston Villa on penalties, but terrible from us. Even worse in the FA Cup, as we were knocked out by Matheus Nunez's former side after extra time. Wolverhampton 1-0 in the FA Cup, and they didn't even go on to win it. Liverpool did. Nightmare. However, after a pretty poor group phase campaign, we came through and won the Champions League again, 2 times in a row. I mean, does it get any better than this? A Premier League and Champions League double? I don't think so. We were absolutely excellent. We beat Feyenoord in the first knockout, in the playoff knockout rather, Juventus, Roma, Arsenal, and then we beat Bruno Guimaraes' Liverpool in the Champions League final. Yeah, bet you're delighted that you left, mate. Didn't even get on. Didn't even play. Have that, Bruno. Have that. As well as scoring the winner in the Champions League final, Alexander Isak was by far and away our top goal scorer with 32 goals. Romelu Lukaku chipping in though as that backup striker with 18. Kudus 12. Kim Min-jae again in double figures with 11. And Matheus Nunez up with 10. 17 assists again from Rooney, not even starting 30 games. However, excellent. Matheus Nunez, 13 goals on top of that 13 assists on top of that 10 goals rather. And Kudus splitting it perfectly with 12 goals, 12 assists. Mason Mount did very well, as did Joe Linton with 8 assists. And of course, Alexander Isak, our best player by quite a long shot. Now, I'm very aware of how messy this has been, so time for the final season of transfers. Just to see, I probably should have ended it after we won the Premier League and the Champions League, but I wanted to see if we'd win an actual domestic competition, because we've not won the FA Cup for fucking ages. 1955, and I wanted to do it. Alisson Maximan, gone. 50 million, Chelsea. I'm sorry that I forced you to play there. About 50 million quid at 29 years old is good business for me. Hudson-Odoi, 40 million to Man City. Thank you very much. He did well on loan at Tottenham, but 40 million for a player we signed for 3 million. It makes sense. Moise Kean went to Benfica, 23 million. I'm sorry, Moise, but 23 million. Brought him in for 12. He did very well for us. It's good business again. Business? Dear me. Lukaku, gone. Napoli, loves Italy. See you later, mate. Thank you for your service. I shouldn't have sold him in hindsight. And Sean Longstaff, which I'm most sad about, but he wanted to leave and he's gone to 15 million to Premier League side Southampton. He's the new James Ward-Prowse, isn't he? And Nick Perp has gone to AS Monaco because Dennis Seaman is coming in and being our number one. In fact, he was our number one last season, I believe. Possibly. Enjoy it. You enjoy that tax-free life, Nick. You've earned it. Mbabu's deal was made permanent. I didn't want to do it. 3.1 million. Oh well, he's here. And so is Paul Pogba, signed for free from Juventus. He's homegrown because obviously he was at Manchester United. He can contribute. He wanted to be, I think it's an impact sub. A player of that quality as an impact sub is decent for free. And the experience of winning loads of shit. Jack Anick, homegrown, fine, third choice goalkeeper. Nicholas Jackson, I regretted this transfer and you'll find out why. I spent 66 million quid on him and I shouldn't have. I brought in Bastoni from Inter Milan to be basically fourth choice left centre back, but Gvardiol can play left back, so can Mickey van de Ven, and then he's back up to Sven Botman. Alessandro Bastoni, welcome. He's very, very good. A good age at 27. We had loads of cash, and he cost us 50 million in total. And this is the reason I sold both Moise Kean and Lukaku. I brought in Calvert-Lewin for 74 million quid. I had money to spend. I thought, why not improve? He's homegrown. He scored 2 goals on his debut. He got player of the match. He's number 99. It's cool. He's physically excellent. His finishing is brilliant. And mentally, he's very, very good. We started off the season, we won the Community Shield on penalties against Liverpool. Paul Pogba scored against them in real time. 5-0 in the Super Cup against Valencia. 5-1 versus Sheffield United. A loss to Arsenal, though not good, before 1-0 win against Crystal Palace. 2-0 against Wolves, where Calvert-Lewin scored twice. And then 1-1 away at Old Trafford. But in January, there was a bit of a mass exodus because Nicholas Jackson wasn't happy, wanted to leave. So I sold him at a loss. 57 million. Bad business from me. A very good player, bad business from me. Likewise, Big Joe Linton wanted to leave, or he wanted to link up with Moise Kean once again. He was actually absolutely brilliant for us across the park, not even far off a testimonial. But he's gone to Benfica. We got 39 million, rising to 48 million. He's gone there. He's done well. You enjoy the sun, mate. You deserve it. And Edson Alvarez wanted to leave as well. We got exactly what we paid for him. He went to the Championship in Watford. Back-to-back Champions League winner, went to the Championship with Watford. 31 million though, exactly what we paid for. He was a good servant, 29 years old. See you later, mate. However, we replaced Edson Alvarez with Unai Venecidor. 58 million from Athletic Bilbao. He's very, very good. He's 26. He's a good age. He will play as that half-back, and I am happy. Luis Diaz. He's come in from Liverpool. 98 million. Should have done that considering he only contributed 4 goals. But he's very good, and in theory, it should have worked. And then he was brought in with Joao Felix moving to the other side. It was stupid from me. This is what happens when I've got so much money. I just get mental with it and just spend it ludicrously, and it's all bad. I did win the Champions League twice, but it went a bit far. It got out of hand, and I'm sorry. And I brought back Bruno. I brought back Bruno because he was available for 89 million, right? We sold it for 177 million. We've bought him twice and still made profit on him. Quite a lot of profit as well. I brought him back. He wanted to leave, I think, Liverpool. Clearly the grass wasn't greener, so keep that in mind, Bruno, if you ever think about it. Brought him back. It didn't really all work out for us, however. Season over by mid-May. We didn't win the league. We won the Super Cup and the Community Shield, as you know. Knocked out in the quarter-final of both cup competitions by good sides, but not great. And knocked out in the semi-final by PSG, who denied us a three-peat of the Champions League. Did they even go on to win it? Don't know. We'll never find out. And there we have it, 4 seasons of simulation, 4 seasons of me driving myself mental, spending a load of money. It took me ages and it was extremely unrealistic and it resulted in a total mess. But I thought I've spent too long on this to not show you it. If you did enjoy it though, please do let me know by leaving a like on the video. And if you want to see more rebuilds, which I'll get better at the more I do them, so if you want to see them, as I said, leave a like. Subscribe if you are new around here. We'll be back to Scottish Premiership content too, but hey, I'll mix it up. And take care. Watch a video from the end screen. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy football being back. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Why did I wink? I'm an idiot.